Could you use a quick tip daily? How about a tip that can impact your day? My name is Raphael. Join me as I bring you tips by experts around the world. These experts have shared their knowledge and wisdom with me and will directly share them with you. Make sure to subscribe, like, follow, and comment, and I would love for you to become part of the New Tip Daily community. Good morning. Happy Friday. What an amazing day we are having so far. I have a special guest with us today, Bret. Bret Ridgway is going to talk to us about books. So let's go ahead and bring him on. By the way, this is episode number 60. So thank you so much for being here with us today. Bret, how are you, my friend?
Outstanding, Raphael. How are you this morning?
Yeah, I'm outstanding. You're outstanding in your field too, right?
Well, I'm trying to do my best, man.
Wow, publishing, right? You've published a bunch of books and you're going to share some tips with us today. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, so as you know from previous conversations we've had, Raphael, I tend to play in the book publishing, speaking, information marketing, event promotion world and all that.
Mm.
And, one of the books that I wrote was a book called Mistakes Authors Make. So today I'd like to pull a few tips maybe from that book and
Wh-
do it again. All right, there we go. Mistakes Authors Make. So anyway, so first of all, I think that everybody should have a book, particularly if you're a local businessman like a chiropractor or an attorney or whatever. I mean, a book gives you credibility and establishes you as the expert in your local area, so that when people have a need for your type of product or service, you're the logical choice because hey, you wrote the book. But there are some mistakes that authors make with books, and these can be applied to both fiction and nonfiction authors. Now, my world is mainly the nonfiction world, that how to help, self help, things like that. But one of the biggest mistakes that I see authors make is to not make their book as consumable as possible. And what do I mean by that? I like to go into a bookstore and maybe browse through the marketing books or whatever. Or maybe I'm at home and I like to do a little bit of reading before bed. And if I pick up a book and I look, well, maybe I'll read another chapter. And I look at that chapter and it's 25, 30 pages long. It's like, oh my God, too much work. I'm not going to read that now, because people like to feel that they're making progress and all that. So when you're thinking about laying out your book, think about the length of your chapters. It's critical for the consumability of your book. Now, the master of this is the author James Patterson. Now, he's a fiction author, but if you look at or have read any of his books, you see that his chapters are no more than 2 to 3 pages long. So it's like, well, I could read another chapter, I could read another chapter, I could read another chapter. Next thing you know, you read that 35 or 50 or 100 pages or whatever. So you were able to consume his book more readily. Think about things like, the size of your font. If you're writing to an older audience and you use tiny 9 or 10 point type or whatever, you're going to kill them. Your book is not going to be as consumable as it could be. Think about the length of your paragraphs. If they're big, blocky chunks, then they're intimidating to the reader and they won't want to, again, consume your information. What can you do to break up your text, whether it's pull quotes or graphs or charts or pictures or whatever? I mean, all these are tools that you can use to make that book more user friendly and have more people more likely to consume your information. And think about it. If you can't get people to even read your book, the chances of them coming back to you for other products or services that you may have goes way, way down. So consumability is critical for your book.
I love the chapter part. I mean, that's a great tip because you're right. Sometimes you're reading a book and you're like, man, sometimes you kind of like, how long is this chapter going to be for?
Yep.
You absolutely, that's a great tip. I love it. And you know what happens is a lot of people, you open a book, and one of the things that I found, especially with the different types of books, that they're always like, they always have ads in their books. How does that take away from somebody wanting to read your book if they flip and they see like go to my page, sign up for this, sign up for that? Because I've seen books like that.
Yeah, well, certainly, if you're writing a nonfiction book, you have to have what you call those ads in there. Now, you can't
Mm,
get carried away with it. You can't have one every page or every other page or whatever. Maybe once every couple chapters or whatever. But remember, when somebody buys your book, that should be the entree into your world, not the end of coming into your world. So
mm,
that book has got to be laid out in a way to drive people from that book to your website so that they can get on your email list, and then you can offer them other products or services via email. I mean, think about, a lot of people sell their books only on Amazon, Raphael. And I will be honest, I think you are crazy if you have any kind of platform at all if you're selling your book only on Amazon.
right.
Why? Because number one, it's Amazon's customers, not yours. They don't pick you up. They don't pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Brett, Frankie Fish bought your book on so and so. Here's his contact information. Go contact him and sell him something else."
Right.
It's their customer, not yours. Number two, they're going to take their 45 or 55%. Where if you can drive that traffic, like you're a speaker on stage and you're telling somebody about your book, well, drive them to your site, not to Amazon to buy your book. Now, should you be selling your book on Amazon? Sure. I mean, they're the 800-pound gorilla. But if you have the ability to drive the traffic yourself, whether it's via Facebook ads or a speaking engagement or whatever it may be, send them to your site to buy your book. Incentivize them maybe by having an author signed copy or something like that, because it's much more valuable to you to get them into your world and your
Mm,
funnel. And so
right.
that book, yeah, needs to have those bounce backs, we call them actually, to get into, to drive them from that book into your world. So yeah, you need to have them. And so it's a matter of figuring out, what can I offer to my readers that would want them to come then to my website, opt in, give me their email address in exchange for something. Could be an audio program, a video, a PDF report. I mean, you're only limited by your own creativity, but it's very important to drive them from your book to your website, and you do that by inserting those bounce backs inside the book. And even I think fiction authors don't utilize this as much as they should,
Mm,
because when you want to have a rabid buying audience, people who are really excited about your next book, well, you need to get them on your list so that you can notify them of when that next book comes out. So maybe you offer an author interview or something inside the book that they come to your website, they can listen to you talk about the writing in that book, or maybe it's a expansion on a particular character in the book, a mini story or whatever. And you need to be doing this way in advance of the release of the book so that when that book comes out, you have a group ready and waiting to go buy that book from you.
yeah, I love that. I love that. So definitely, if you're on like what I do with all my guests is I send them a video of the podcast so they can maybe put that on their website, right?
Sure.
And once they're sent to the website, they can say, "Hey, this I'm talking about this book." And so they can direct them to even different episodes of different podcasts, or if there's video of it, because some of them are only audio. But I love the idea of sending someone to say, "Hey, if I have a new book coming out," like I don't know, there's people who write a book a year, so they say, "Don't forget, I'm going to release my new book in April or
Hmm.
May of every year, so stay tuned. There's a new one coming," right?
Yep.
Cool.
Exactly. And most people don't start that whole marketing process soon enough, Raphael. I mean, if you're writing your first book, you need to start building that list a year, 9 months or more in advance.
Mm,
So that again, when that book does release, when it hits the bookshelves or whatever, or you're going to have it on your website, that people are already aware of it and they're excited about buying it. And so that you can drive those interested people to your site
right.
day one when it hits, and not, all right, now my book's ready. Now, what am I going to do marketing wise to make people aware of it? I mean, they should already be aware of it and ready to buy.
No, I agree. I had an episode called Printing Your Money, for business. And right there, you just talked about how to print your money, how to have people buy your book even before it comes out, right?
Exactly. I mean, I have a new book coming out in March called
Let's take a look. Hang on. I'm
How to
gonna,
Build a Profitable Speaking Business.
let's hold that up. Oh, yeah.
So
Nice.
let me get my hands out of the way. But
Beautiful.
I mean, the book is at the printer now and won't be actually available till mid-March. But if you go to bretridgway.com/books, you can pre-order the book now, and that way you get an author signed copy. So, I mean, the marketing process can start. You can do pre-releases and all that, whether it's on your own website or on Amazon, to hopefully generate some sales and help pay for some of the cost of getting that book done before it actually even hits the shelves.
Brett, you just said something that really, boom, it just caught me right away, right? A signed copy. Now, I want to share this with my audience. How many of you at home have books signed by the authors? I think that's pretty cool. And the fact that not only I can pre-buy your book, but you're going to sign it for me, man, that's pretty cool. That's pretty
And
cool.
what every once in a while, all of us maybe cool our libraries a little bit. It's like, all right, I'm not going to read that book again, but I will not get rid of a book that's personally signed to me. I mean, it's going
No.
to stay in my library. So there's intrinsic value to having an author signed copy of any book. So
Mhm.
yeah, if you have the ability to do that, by all means, as an author, do that for your readers.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And I love it when it's personalized. For example, I had somebody who promised me a signed book.
Hmm.
It was stamped. I was like,
Right.
"What? That's not a signed book."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's a catch-22 in a sense because I mean we have authors that want to give out signed copies of their book, but it's impractical to order them from a printer, ship them to the author, have the author sign them, then they ship them to the fulfillment company that's
Mhm.
actually handling the order fulfillment. And it
Right.
just adds so many steps in the process, it drives the cost up. So what some people have done is they get book plates, they call them. So they'll
Mm.
sign the book plates, send the book plates to the fulfillment company, and then those will be adhered inside the book or whatever. So it is signed, but it's a different kind of process in order to make it more feasible logistically and cost wise.
Can I maybe make a suggestion to those companies that yes, you put your plate on it, but even if and it's your signature, right, as an author,
Right?
but maybe the person at the fulfillment company can put your name on it. So now it's to
Yeah,
Raphael
sure.
from, Brett, even if you didn't initially sign it, but you signed the template, if you will, right?
Right. Hmm.
So now I feel like I got a book signed by you.
So, Raphael, I need you to send me your address so I can send you a new copy of the book as soon as I
What?
have it in hand.
I
So,
can't wait. I can't wait. You know that. And the other thing is, I'm looking forward to having you come to New York because we are going to have not only you, but a bunch of other authors who are going to come in physically, physically in front of you, sign a book come July 13th through the 16th. And I know Brett, how many books now?
this is number 8.
Ooh, love it. Love it. And I know we talked and you said you're working on more, right?
A few other ideas are germinating inside the brain or whatever. So,
Nice, nice, nice. Did you actually put any of those ideas in paper, on paper?
I have actually. I actually started the process on one. So one of the things I'm intending to do, honestly, and this is, I think, a great tip for anybody that has a podcast, is I'm going to pull out and transcribe those podcast interviews and then turn those into little tips books. So here's the top 12 interviews from my Spotlight on Speaking show about the keys to success as a speaker from the perspective of 12 industry experts or whatever. And
Mm,
that just basically will be an edited transcript of the actual episodes.
love it, love it. Great. And you shared so many tips on my show, and I know I've sent you those. And here you are again, sharing more tips. Can I tell you, you are a wealth of knowledge, and I'm looking forward. And I told you I'm a hugger, so I'm going to have to hug you when I see you in July, right?
That's all right. I will reserve a hug for you, Raphael.
I appreciate it. All right, my friend. Thank you so much for taking the time and coming on my show today. Really
My
appreciate
pleasure as
you.
always.
I know you're always over delivering, and thank you for doing that today.
My pleasure.
All right. Everybody, have an amazing rest of your day. And remember, on Monday, a new business tip is coming your way. We'll see you on Monday. Brett, Enjoy your weekend, my friend.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.